Welcome back, guys. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and we have the, I would say, once per month graded edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. And I want to personally thank you guys for tuning in. This video is going to give you an idea of what kind of coins you should be grading. Now, of course, we focus on errors and varieties. Okay, what's the difference between the two? Errors are generally one-time occurrences. You know, something catastrophic had happened during the minting process, thereby creating some pretty phenomenal coin errors. Whereas varieties happen over the course of many strikes. You know, a good example would be 55 double to die, or perhaps a 56 D over D repunch mint mark, and the 1988 wide AM reverse Lincoln. These are all examples of US varieties that we're going to talk about today. Now, like I've said before, you guys have watched my regular Pocket Change Market Report videos where we take a look and talk about a lot of the same coins that revolve around errors and varieties. And I tell you, 99% of the time, you don't have to grade a lot of these coins. They sell and speak for themselves. However, there's going to be a few examples where you absolutely need to get them graded. Whether they're just way too complex or elaborate to discuss if you're trying to list it for sale, that can be problematic. Some people will say, well, you know, I don't think that coin's legit because I've never seen it before. There's a lot of unique errors out there that certainly deserve some sort of graded slab. If it comes out graded as a legitimate error, then you're in good shape. You know, people do trust the grading companies in that way to ensure that the vernacular is correct. You know, something that's broad struck and double struck at the same time can be a little bit tricky to explain. And, you know, just trying to get people on board with what you're selling can be difficult if something is too good to be true. So we have a very busy last couple weeks, but a lot of the coins that you see here today are just from the last 5 days. It's pretty incredible just how many coins have sold. A lot of big money coins sold here in the last 5 days or so. We're going to take a look at a few of those. So here's the best of the graded coins. Again, these are all the coins that I personally would grade because it's going to make a huge difference on their secondary market. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Thank you guys again. We're going to start off here with everybody's beloved $1 coin. Now, you could hear the tone of me being a little bit dramatic there about this coin, you know, but it's a $1 2007 John Adams presidential dollar coin. Now, there's a few things going on here that at first glance you can't see, all right? So this one is an overlapped double struck coin. It's also broad struck, and it's missing the missing edge lettering as well. Well, it's just got missing edge lettering. I don't know why I said missing twice, but you guys get the big idea. There's a lot going on here with this coin. It's a very plentiful minted coin. Of course, that first year of the presidential dollar series, people were really high on until they stopped being high on them, you know, and it is what it is. But coin errors during this specific kind of series, I guess, are still pursued. This one right here, as you can see in the graded holder by PCGS, has everything I just told you. Overlapped, double struck, broad struck, and it's got the missing edge lettering. Even shows mint error times 3. PCGS assigns Mid-State 64 generally with these pretty insane errors. The actual numerical grade means less. Of course, an example like this compared to one that maybe is bent or destroyed will still play a huge factor into value. This one right here ended up selling for exactly what you see there, $499.99. With shipping, $509.98. Oftentimes I will say the entire amount with shipping because that is also absorbed as to part of the cost of ownership of this coin. So yeah, pretty expensive coin. Keep in mind, this is just one example of a coin that I would certainly grade. But we've seen quite a few of these. This thing is nasty, and I love it. This is a New York statehood quarter. It's a 2001 P. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening here. So this one was triple struck. All right, so the second and third strike are 25% off center, and this thing is just crazy looking. I've seen some statehood quarter series that are multi-struck. I think as high as like 10, 11 times. They get pretty crazy. I don't know what happened at the Mint to facilitate these type of coins even existing, but you know, this is a no-doubter. Grade these each and every single time. This one is a Pcgs Mid-State 66. So the second and third strike they put on here 35% off center. So I was off by a little bit. This one with shipping ended up selling for $1,602.92. CTF Error Coins was your seller on this one. We've seen that particular seller on quite a few occasions. They're one of the big dealers in error coins. But they got the right idea. If you found something like this, obviously you would grade it. Another good one right here. Now, at first glance, you know, it doesn't really look like anything. It's a 1996 Lincoln Memorial cent. And the reason why it's oriented like this is because this is a coin that was rotated double struck in collar. You could see, if you were to look here on the obverse, you could actually see the first initial strike with Lincoln's profile as such. You can even see a partial date right here, which is just really cool. But double struck coins are, I would say most of the time I would grade them. I've seen a few successful sales without the graded slab. However, in this particular case, seeing as how this is an error that has been counterfeited on a few occasions, not very well, but there have been a few attempts, and because of how popular this error is in the community, people who are not traditionally error folks have fallen for the good old whoop-de-doo trick of buying a garage error is what I like to call it. You know, one that was squeeze pressed in a vise with two other coins. Can't fool anyone. Mid-State 65 red is what PCGS assigned for this one. Again, make sure when you're going to send these coins out to the graders that you pay for the error attribution. It's going to be pricey. It's like $60, $65, but you want the words on the slab label. That's going to help out for you to sell these coins. This one right here with shipping ended up selling for $502.92. This sale was from like 2 days ago. So these are like really recent sales. There you go. CTF Error Coins. Again, your seller on this one. Yeah, good luck explaining this if you didn't get it graded. I mean, this thing is crazy. 2007D Jefferson Nickel. And look at the theme. A lot of very recent coins here on the list. But from what we could see, it looks like just a regular good old die cap, right? Like, you know, you could see that deep dish profile on the reverse. I mean, this thing is particularly nutty. But what we have here in actuality is that it was double struck. And it's a large broad strike, which means the collar was not present during the striking process. A lot of that extra metal flow went outwards. PCGS assigned a Mid-State 63 on this one. The seller did mention die cap in there. It could have been a die cap based off of the reverse image. CTF Error Coins again on this one, but you can see just that huge dollar figure. $1,600.92 was the final sale price on this one. A lot of CTF errors did sell here this past week. He made a boatload of money off of these. Another presidential coin, this time coming in the way of the first release of 2007, and that's good old Georgie boy right here. This one is missing its edge lettering, so we don't know if it's a Denver or Philadelphia minted coin. This one right here, when you look at the coin, I'm going to tell you this. It's got three distinct errors. The missing edge lettering is one of them. It was struck 6 times. I don't know if you can see that here. These pictures are a little bit dark, but it's also broad struck as well. So it's got a ton of stuff happening here. Struck 6 times, broad struck, MEL, Mid-State 66 was the numerical grade assigned to this one. Final sale price with shipping ended up at $894.98. DOCT 58 is the seller on this one. I've never highlighted any of this particular seller's coins before, but this is a really good sale on this example here. Just a really, really dramatic error. Again, another one that you should 100% of the time send off to the graders, because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty with a coin that looks like it could be damaged. Now here's our first variety for this particular episode of the PCMR Graded. This is, of course, the marquee, one of the marquee Mercury Dimes to look out for. This is the 1942 over One Overdate Mercury Dime. The reverse is upside down because it's oriented that way in the holder. So I just kept it the way it is. Yeah, but as you can see, I mean, it's not a supremely high-end graded coin. This one actually ended up graded as a VF25, but you can see on the label 1942 over 1. You want to make sure that that's on there before you do sell this. This coin has sold on a number of occasions on my regular PCMR ungraded, and they do really well. I think adding it into a graded holder just really solidifies the value of the coin, all right? It gives it a lot more, not only legitimacy, but people that end up with these coins, they're going to slab it anyways. So it's like an extra bonus ball for the seller and the buyer. This one right here, a best offer was accepted in the amount of $484.25. They ended up knocking $20 off the price, and then you add back the shipping, and that's how I got to that dollar figure. Max City was the seller on this one. Again, a new seller of errors and varieties I had previously profiled on this report. So there you go. Okay, so this is not typically a coin that I would add to the list, because off-center struck coins sell okay the way they do. Now, is there an opportunity here, because the coin is so eye-appealing with this reddish kind of like really dark fiery color to it, that it deserves a graded holder? Possibly, but here's a caveat. This is a Fred Weinberg collection slab label, all right? So a lot of the premium with these type of coins revolves around the provenance of Fred Weinberg, who's one of the big esteemed error collectors on the face of the planet, among just regular coin collector extraordinaire. Yeah, I'm pumping him to death right now. But this one right here, as you can see, struck 40% off center, PCGS Mid-State 64 brown. This is just a coin that in other circumstances, you should just sell it raw. But in this case, if you're buying it because you want that Fred Weinberg, piece to add to your collection, you will pay a significant value. The coin itself is not worth, what is it? $502.92. That's with shipping included. That's how much this one sold for. But with that provenance, that carries a huge weight of the value into it. Plus, it's a very attractive looking coin. I would say it's like a red-brown with some toning that gives it that extra added, I don't know, zing to it. But as you can see, CTF error coins, they know what they're talking about. They ended up selling this one and doing a very dutiful, masterful job at taking fantastic pictures. The pictures in this one is really what popped for me, and that's why ultimately it sold for way above market. Now, I love talking about these, especially when you know they've circulated before. How do I know? Check out the grade, AU58. This is a 50-cent candy half dollar that was struck on a quarter planchet. So the coin is smaller than a traditional candy half dollar. That's easy to see. It doesn't even have a readable date, and there are other devices cut off, especially on the reverse. So the coin is a lot smaller. Pretty cool. Again, the larger denominations that are struck on much smaller type of denominational type of planchets are always worth the most amount of money. I've seen Ike dollars struck on quarter planchets and all sorts of weird stuff. And those command the top of the market, and that's where this one fits in. So this one right here ended up selling for $735 shipped. This one was actually sold as a traditional auction with 29 bids. And I just can't help but reiterating that this coin came out of circulation. This thing has passed through a few hands based off of that grade. AU58 is not reserved for a coin that was just minted yesterday. This one has some wear on the highest points of the devices. It's got a few little bag marks that's easy to see. I mean, this coin had been around the block a few times. Oh, speaking of being around the block, this thing right here, 1918S Walking Liberty half dollar is it's a decent date. I'm not going to say it's like a rarity. Maybe in mid-state grades, it's a much more highly coveted coin that commands a lot more respect. But this one right here is just a decent looking coin with some pretty dark kind of tarnish on it, toning, whatever you want to call it. But what about the minor error on this one? It says broad struck. So it's broad struck out of collar. It's so minimal too. It's not something that's going to blow you away and, you know, automatically people are going to look at it and say, oh, it just looks like a regular half dollar, right? But this one right here, the much older obsolete type coins that are errors like this, I would say send them off to PCGS or NGC every single time. You're going to be doing yourself a huge favor. So this one right here ended up at $290.60 as its final sale price. Very, very respectable given the minor nature of the broad strike error. And the condition of the coin, XF45, is not a world beater, but it's just a decent example. Now, this is a coin right here that I'm kind of a little bit jealous of because I had the opportunity to buy this, not this specific coin, but one like this on 2 different occasions over the course of the last like 15 years. And I could have gotten it for as low as like $300. I mean, that's how low the market was pre-recession age of 2008, 2009. But this is a 1967 commemorative dollar, Canadian dollar. This is the world famous, as in famous mostly to North Americans, as being the double struck diving eagle type. They do have a regular diving eagle kind of rotated reverse. That's not a double struck like this. But double struck in collar. Though again, one of my favorite errors. I own my own one singular copy of a double struck Lincoln cent, and I've wanted to always add one of these. The prices, well, they just keep elevating to the next stratosphere. It wants to stay completely out of reach of my grubby little hands. And I guess I'm okay with that. It just means that the market is really fresh and very exciting right now. Yeah, there you go. $1,795 was the final sale price on this one. Pretty cool considering that it came, you know, it's a Canadian coin, but it was sold in Hollywood, California by Star 505. I think I've highlighted a few of their pieces in the past. So this is a very impressive coin, and you never know. I might end up with one of these someday. They are getting pretty expensive, though. Speaking of really cool, we are all familiar with double denomination strikes. So we have a cent on dime. So it's a 1989 cent that was struck on an already struck dime. Did I lose you there? So this, they call these 11 cent errors because it's both a dime and a Lincoln cent. I think you got the big idea, but this one's really cool because you have 2 full readable dates. You have a lot of devices that you can see off of both coins, the host coin and then the Lincoln cent. I mean, there's a lot to love here. These things have kind of been floundering, you know, in all different directions as far as the market goes. However, you can't argue with this one. Mid-State 65 was the grade on this specimen. This one ended up selling for a really cool $1,652.95. Of course, a very familiar name right there on the right side. CTF sold this one. Now, this is a coin that recorded a sale and then was relisted, and then recorded a sale and then relisted again. So I don't think this coin was in reality really sold, but check this out. This is a coin that's going to end up selling for a high dollar value. However much that amount is remains to be seen. 1943S. Apparently it's a 43/2, and I didn't know that that even existed. 43/2 San Francisco steel cent. It's also a doubled die. It's the DDO FS 101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. This one is a incredibly high grade Mid-State 67 by PCGS. You can see that 43/2S along with the attribution for this variety. But check this out. Bezel Boy, I guess, recorded a sale of 10 grand, and I don't know if that's a self bid on this one to kind of like pump the coin, which I don't think it really needed, because the coin is going to be expensive. Whether it's $10,000 expensive, I don't know. I mean, you know, it's not going to help that this seller continuously gets these bids, the one bid on the 10 grand listing. As of right now, this coin is relisted for a little bit different value, $10,000 and $10 or some weird stuff like that. But this is a coin that's going to be very expensive. I don't think $10,000 is realistic. It's going to be somewhere in the 4 figures region. But it's a really cool variety, and you know, one day this will sell for what it deserves. All right, now we're on to some Ngc Graded Coins. We have a few here for you before we end the video. This is an undated Lincoln Memorial cent that is struck on what looks to be like an elliptical clipped scrap piece. Apparently it has 3 clips on there. Don't know if you guys see it, but you have the one main large clip, you have another second clip right here, and then another one right here by this prong. Just a very interesting coin. It's not for everyone, but it is indeed an error, probably plucked out of a mint-sewn bag of Lincoln cents during its day. Mid-State 64 Red Brown was the grade here by NGC, and a best offer was accepted with shipping for $205.60 was the final sale price of this one. So again, obscure, kind of weird shape type stuff like this. Again, grade them. It's not going to hurt. Now, here's a good one here, too. As minor as this appears, I mean, take a look at the reverse on this 1880S. It's just got a simple strike through, but it's a nice right good size strike through. It kind of makes like an X pattern there, right where the arrows are on that reverse. But yeah, this is a pretty cool one. 1880S is notorious for its proof-like surfaces, so I'm not at all surprised that this one's a PL. Mid-State 63, it's actually very common grade, but once you add in that error element, it kind of transforms the ideology, that idea that this one is anything but a regular 1880S. Yeah, check that out. Just a really heavy sale, $2,350. What's the final sale price on this one? Actually, no, I take that back. A best offer was accepted for this one for $850. I do apologize. Yeah, I didn't think it was worth $2,300, even with the PL designation and the error. But $850 was the sale price. Without the error, this coin would be worth around $1.25. So a pretty good return there on that graded investment. And yeah, pretty nice. NCE 2017 was the seller. Okay, so if you want an idea of what a coin looks like that is struck through a very incredibly late stage cap die, this is the example to see. 1973 Lincoln cent is just that, struck through a very incredibly late stage cap die. That puppy was razor thin to the point where it was striking through all of the regular devices on that die onto the host coin that you see here. That's why you could read everything, but the devices are still very soft to let you know that it is indeed a cap die strike. This one right here is a Mid-State 67 Red Brown, which is a pretty phenomenal grade. It's a very high-end grade, even with the Red Brown designation and the error. That probably explains why this one was able to manage a $409.94 sale here in the last week or so. This one's sold by Sun Coin in Florida. We gotta have a three-legged buffalo. Again, when they get beyond like AU condition, that's where you should grade them every single time, because there have been a number of attempts of counterfeiting these, and you guys need to know that on the higher end examples, this is where you gotta protect yourself. So you should send them off to any one of the graders, whether it's PCGS, NGC, or even Annex, or maybe CAC Coin when that starts out next year. Mid-State 63 is a great, fantastic grade. This one right here was bid up in a regular auction to the tune of $3,840.25 with 32 bids. Old Northern Hoarder was the seller of this coin. Great looking sale, and a very safe sale too in this graded holder. And then finally, we're going to take a look at a coin that I've talked about on regular PCMR videos. We've seen a few of these over the course of the last 6 months sell on the marketplace for around like $175 to $230 from what I can remember. So that's kind of like the value I place on this 1973D Cud Die Break Candy half dollar. It's a fantastic coin. This is like one of my favorite Cuds. If and only if, because it is on a different denomination than what we're used to seeing. Some of the bigger coins with these type of errors are just, they're majestic. There's something about them that I love and make them really unique. AU58, like going back to the previous candy half dollar we talked about that was struck on a quarter planchet, this thing has seen the light of day. It's been through a few hands. You could tell it's got some fingerprints on there. But this is just a really cool coin. This one right here is part of the Harry Chaparian collection. I hope I got that right. They even have their own provenance on there for Harry. But yeah, I mean, this is how you could transform a coin that's worth a few $100 into one that's sold for $900. Again, another regular seller that we've seen a few times. Star 505. This one ended up being just a beater. A really awesome sale of this coin. Again, letting you guys know that graded holder component, it can really change the game a little bit. So just really be intentional on what you're going to send out. Things like this that are a lot more unique than they are deserve the graded holder and deserve you paying your hard-earned money to get it done. But that's going to go ahead and do it. Did you guys have a favorite? I had a few. I would say the double struck Canadian dollar was my personal favorite of this week's report, but that's the Pocket Change Market Report graded edition for this week in October. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys again for all your views and support. Don't forget to love, share, subscribe, and follow me on TikTok as well at BlueRidgeSilverhound. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day and stay tuned for more coin videos. Take care.